The Haunted Jungles of Sundarbans. This story is set in 1976 Bengal. Ichamati River flowed in all its beauty and tranquility. The Sundarbans lay before them, vast and verdant. The forests were so thick that it was difficult to see past the first couple of trees. It is really dense. Should we go further? I said, eyeing the jungle apprehensively. What if there is a tiger lurking nearby? But my friend Debraj was an adventure-spirited man. Folding his trousers up to his knee, he said, Oyon, don't be a rat. We have our daggers with us. No animal can stand the sharpness of our daggers. Besides, Sundarbans is an ocean of jungle, and there are just about 71 tigers in total. It is very unlikely that we will encounter one. But Debraj, I argued, our daggers will be of no use if a tiger pounces suddenly. And what about snakes? Debraj replied, Friend, since we are in Sundarbans, it would be quite disappointing if we don't get to see great beasts and reptiles. Or are you here just to train your binoculars on those boring birds? He chuckled. Hey, birds are not boring, I protested. And yes, you are right, Debraj. This trip would be a waste if we don't get to see reptiles or cats. But I was just saying that perhaps we should not enter this patch of the forest. It's too dense. Why not? Debraj questioned. On the contrary, this patch is really dense. So there is a good chance we can discover exotic and rare species of insects. Undiscovered animals, maybe, Before I could argue, he added, as for the tigers, just keep your daggers out. Of course, the monkeys would warn us, even if a tiger is a kilometer away. So nothing to panic about. I felt somewhat convinced by this argument. The trees were indeed flooded with monkeys and other varieties of apes. And then there were birds of every kind imaginable. They would surely screech their lungs out the moment a tiger stepped on this part of the forest. And so I became relaxed. And wading across the waters, we entered the denser patch of the jungle. The moment we stepped inside a really thick portion of the forest patch, a sharp whistle cut through the air like the sound of a siren. Hey, where do you think you two are going? It was evidently a forest guard. He was a pretty young chap of around 25, and he was wearing gray-colored uniform. His face appeared rough, as if hardened by the thorns and twigs of the jungle. He came half running towards us. You should not go there, he barked. No guard would be there to help you if you get into some danger. Debraj answered back. Debraj answered back. We have got the license from the forest department. Of course, we can legally go there. You cannot stop us. Besides, we have safety tools and we are trained explorers. were trained explorers. So Devraj was a man of around 35. He had studied forestry and he was currently writing a thesis on the wild jungles of India. He had been to dozens of deep jungles, including the Amazon forest. He had been to dozens of deep jungles, including the Amazon forest. I was a couple of years younger to him, and I was assisting him in the project. Of course, I knew him as a friend and as a university colleague for more than 10 years. The forest guard felt a bit offended at Debraj's authoritative remark. He said, "My job is to warn you. You are the master of your own destiny. You are free to risk your life. But I hope that you too have heard about the ghost of Durga Das." Debraj burst out into laughter. "That stupid fisherman who was killed by a tiger. Yes, yes, I have heard that rubbish story, but that's utterly nonsense." At this point, I intervened. "What story, Debraj? You never told me about it." "It is a completely fabricated tale, Oyon," said Debraj. "These village people just like to believe in it. It does them good to have something to talk about. Besides, it happened some 8 years ago. There was a fisherman named Durga Das who was foolish enough to come out to fish at 4 a.m. Clearly, he should have waited for the sun to rise. It is said that the tiger tore him to pieces. He deserved it, I would say. What a fool." "And his ghost haunts the place?" I asked. Devraj answered coolly, "Oyon, you are an educated man. You know how these village people think, like? It is a clever way of turning that fisherman's stupidity into heroism. Let's make his spirit wander about the place. That would make that fool Durga Das quite a historic and an immortal character." The forest guard was listening patiently thus far. But now he said, "It is true that Durga Das shouldn't have ventured that far before sunrise. But what you don't know, sir, is that he was not a fisherman. He was actually a forest officer. He was actually a forest officer, a licensed gun holder. The Bengal government had assigned him the task of gunning down Kali." "Kali?" I asked. "Who was Kali?" The guard replied, "Kali was a man-eating tiger, a man-eater, in other words. Kali had a notorious reputation amongst the villagers. The tiger would enter the village at night and drag one child away. Every week, it would discover a way to enter in the darkness. Nobody would see it coming or leaving. Nobody would hear the scream or wailing of a child. The tiger seemed to operate in full secrecy. It is said that it would grab a sleeping child's neck and snuff the life out of it. The child was dead before it could wake up." "Did you say it came every week?" I asked, feeling goosebumps on my arms. "Yes, sir," said the forest guard. "The legend has it that it came every week, once a week. That's how the story goes. It was a long time ago, you see. 8 years is a long time for these simple villagers. Many of them from that time are no more alive. They died in the big cyclone that came 5 years ago. Some of them became homeless and went somewhere else. I myself am working here as the forest guard since the past 2 years. I originally belonged to Bankura. I am only telling you, sir, what I have heard from other villagers. My name, by the way, is Dilip. The story of the tiger Kali increased my interest level. So, Dilip, are you telling me that this tiger Kali killed the forest officer Durga Das? But then what happened to Kali? Dilip took a deep breath and replied, Durga Das, like I told you, was doing his duty. He had been assigned the task of shooting down the tiger. But the government did not want any tamasha around his arrival. The government did not want any tamasha around his arrival, at least not until the tiger had actually been gunned down. So he was asked to disguise himself as a fisherman. The villagers, of course, never learnt the truth. They still think he was an unlucky and a foolish fisherman. Dilip fell silent. Debraj took out a cigarette and lit it for himself. I, on my part, was a bit overwhelmed by the information. So I gave myself some time to let the story sink in. It was Debraj who broke the silence. So Durga Das was killed by the tiger. His bloodied body was found in the morning. That's quite understandable. But then where did the tiger disappear? Where did the tiger disappear? Vanished in the thin air? Dilip the forest guard replied in his calm and composed manner. Nobody knows what exactly happened to Kali. The tiger never showed up again. It was never sighted or heard anymore. The villagers were happy as their children were safe now. But yes, over the years, the theory that became popular is that Kali was taken away. Kali was taken away by the ghost of Durgadas. Ghost of Durgadas, I cried out. It means that the night Durgadas died, he returned as a ghost and took the tiger away. Is that so? Yes, said Dilip. In a way, people say that Kali was the first victim of Durgadas. But isn't it possible that Kali died naturally or maybe died some other way at some other place? Asked Debraj. Now his interest level too increasing significantly. It is possible, yes, said Dilip. But then the tiger's body or its remains could never be found. No skeleton, nothing. An intensive search was carried out in the forest after Durga Das was killed. Dilip paused. We all became thoughtful. Even the vanity one could associate with Debraj was ebbing away. Debraj was no longer cracking a joke, or laughing out loud at least. Secondly, Dilip continued, almost every month, a person from the village is taken away by the spirit. We find nothing, no body, no bones, not even the clothes. That is how we understood it cannot be a tiger attack. Tigers leave behind bones and clothes, as was the case with Durga Das. And so, sir, it is for your own good that I advise you not to go further, Dilip said, as if giving a final verdict. Afternoon was giving way to evening. Due to the denseness of the trees, this part of the forest was already a bit dark, even during noon. And now daylight was fading fast. Yet there were so many questions that my mind was buzzing with. So I quizzed Dilip again. Okay, Dilip, let us say that the tiger killed Durgadas. Durgadas returned as a ghost to take the tiger away. And the same spirit takes away another human body every month. There is no body, no bone, no clothes which are found. Here we are talking about a supernatural entity that takes a human away entirely. But then why? Durgadas was killed by a tiger. So why should his spirit kill the innocent village people? Yes, how about that? Debraj too nodded his head vigorously. As to that, sir, said Dilip, we can only assume. It seems that Durga Das held the villagers responsible for his death. He got mauled by the tiger, trying to save their lives, their children's lives. Besides, no villager was really happy when he said that he was a fisherman from a nearby village. No villager was really happy when he said that he was a fisherman from a nearby village. They did not they did not want they did not want him to fish in their local territory. They saw him as a stranger, as an alien. Therefore, Durga Das held no sympathy for these villagers. Of course, he was to maintain secrecy on government orders, so he never told them that he was not a fisherman, but a hunter. In any case, he must have been furious that he was putting his life at stake for these unfriendly and hostile village people. Saying this, Dilip fell silent. There was another long pause. And then Debraj said, with a burst of energy, I still think it is a cock and bull story, a mere figment of imagination. And in any case, we are here on research business, so we would just have a look, ghost or no ghost. And saying this, Debraj gestured me to come, and we began walking towards the prohibited zone. Dilip, the forest guard, shouted one final cry of warning. But Devraj was back to his original behavior. As for me, I was in a neutral state of mind. I decided to stick to Devraj in any case. It would have been wrong. It would have been wrong of me to ditch a friend. And frankly speaking, I had no concrete reason to quit the program. Like I said, it would have been wrong of me to ditch a friend. And frankly speaking, I had no concrete reason to quit the plan or the program. Stories of such ghostly encounters are common in any remote part of India. And thus we began to walk deeper into the jungle. The blade of the grass was pretty long and thick in these parts. For most part, we could hardly see the soil beneath. Within 10 minutes, we were scratching our legs furiously. Before long, it turned dark, pitch black dark, and we took out from our bags a couple of candles we had brought with us. We lit the candles. There was hardly any breeze, and the flames came up without much resistance. Okay, here the story ends today. This was the part one, the first part of the story, and we'll be doing the second and the last part the next day, which should be tomorrow. So this was the first part of the story, and I will now give the mic over to you. So if you have any query or any question, then please ask. Stop the recording.